Good morning. I'm Pastor Gene Vincent, a retired Lutheran pastor from Princeton, Illinois, where I live with my wife. I'm a graduate of Wartburg Seminary in Dubuque and served in the northern Illinois area for a number of years before retiring 3 years ago. While I was in the congregation, COVID hit. So I was doing some of our worship services from home on Facebook and YouTube, and continued after we were meeting again later in June of the COVID year, and also continued to do some Saturday morning coffee. So I encourage you to grab a cup of coffee as we get together here this morning, and hopefully every Saturday morning. I was inspired, Spirit-led, to do a podcast on prayer. What does it mean to be Spirit-led? Have you ever been led by the Spirit? Well, let me share how this came about. I was feeling an inner urge to do some teaching. I have the heart of a teacher, although I never was a teacher. I was a pastor, and also before that time I was in farm machinery sales. But what I sold was conservation tillage equipment, and I taught farmers how to control their soil erosion with various practices. So, although I've not officially been a teacher, I've taught all my life. And I was feeling the urge to teach again. I started seeing some Facebook posts from friends of mine across Illinois and Iowa talking about prayer and their prayer life. And I started welling up a feeling in me. As I was digging through some of my books in the basement, which I haven't set my office up yet, so my books are not on a bookcase, they're in boxes, I came across an old book from William Bostwick. The name of it is At Your Word: How Prayer Releases the Power of God in Your Life. Coincidence number 2. Then we move on to coincidence number 3. My wife and I were sitting watching TV some Sunday morning where I wasn't preaching that Sunday, filling in on a pulpit, and we were watching Rick Warren. Rick Warren started talking about the importance of prayer to our spiritual life and to our feeling of God's presence. That was back this summer. I said to myself, God is urging me to do this teaching, to do this podcast on prayer. After all, prayer is important to our life in Christ. I felt that way most of my life. At the church I served, I started a prayer group before service because I told them that prayer was important to me, and it was important not to just say it, but show it. So we had a group of people who, some of them really weren't familiar with prayer, weren't comfortable praying other than out of a book. And we would pray for 3, 4, 5 minutes before the worship service. Pray for the congregation. Pray for me, the pastor, that my words would reflect God's words. We did this in groups of 2, and maybe there was 3, 4 groups of 2 that rotated. And if they weren't comfortable, of course, my wife Lisa would stand in with them and help them pray. And pretty soon we had a whole group of prayer warriors in that church, not only praying for me before worship service, but praying at all times and all places for all things. So prayer has been very important to me in my life, and I think probably if you're watching, it's been important to you. The apostles asked Jesus, teach us how to pray. And of course, Jesus taught them the Lord's Prayer. And we'll look at that a little later. Now, some people are good at prayer, comfortable praying on their own, praying from their heart, and some people aren't. Some people are only comfortable praying out of a prayer book, and that's okay. Prayers out of a book are prayers that probably a group of people, or maybe just one person, has thought about a long time, refined, and we can all read them together. But it's also good to pray from our hearts, because prayer, at its basics, is conversation with God. Conversation, both speaking to God and listening to God. That's what conversation is. It's a two-way street. And conversation, good conversation, when we speak and listen, draws us to that other person, cements our relationship, brings us closer. So certainly prayer can bring us closer to God. So for the next 15 weeks or so, we will look at prayer, the who, the why, the how, the what, and the when, and even the where of prayers. We'll go in depth a little bit each week. And just maybe by the time we're done with this journey, you will feel more comfortable in prayer. Your prayer life will increase. Your prayer life will be deeper. And because of that, your relationship with God will be deeper and more intimate and more life-giving. And you might feel more comfortable praying with others and praying alone. Being honest with God, opening your heart to God. So I'd like to drop these every Saturday morning, maybe 10 o'clock or so. And each of these will be 10 to 12 minutes long. I'm going to continue on Facebook, but these will also be posted to YouTube. I'd like to encourage you all to watch these on YouTube. You know, Facebook is something that you're going to see because you're on my friends list. But by clicking on the YouTube, liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel, that's going to open up this channel to other people who aren't familiar with me or with you. People who are just searching for deeper meaning in life, searching for a deeper relationship with God. And the more you click, the more you like, the more often it'll randomly appear on other people's YouTube feed. Now, in order to like and to subscribe, you'll have to have a Gmail account. But most of you probably do. So log on with your Gmail account, watch this on YouTube, like and subscribe. It's a way that you can help to evangelize, to make Christ's name known throughout the world. Each devotion will end with Luther's morning prayer. So let's pray that right now. We give you thanks My Heavenly Father, through Jesus Christ, your dear Son, that you have kept me safe this night. And I pray that you would keep me this day from sin and every evil, that all my doings in life will please you. Into your hands I commend myself, my body and soul in all things. Let your holy angel be with me, that the evil foe would have no power over me. Amen. Later on, as we get into the meat of learning about prayer, we'll dissect both Luther's morning prayer and the Lord's Prayer and take a look at what makes those such wonderful prayers, such meaningful prayers. So until next week, please have a good and godly day. For what lasting value is a good day if it's not also a godly day? Go in peace and serve the Lord.